Hello and welcome back to Bookish Brits. My name is Michelle and today I wanted to talk to you about the 7 books that I read in February. Yes, I know I'm late with this whole monthly wrap-up thing, but I'm hoping to churn these out as quickly as I can so that the rest of the year I can just do them when appropriate instead of filming 4 videos right in a row, which is what I am doing today. So anyway, 7 books I read in February. I'm only going to really talk about 5 of them because 2 of them I've already discussed in other videos. So let's get started. The first book that I read in February was A Heart So Fierce and Broken by Brigid Kemmerer. This was like a chunky fantasy novel, second in the series. I can't remember what the first one's called, but it's about a girl and her brother in an alternate fantasy in which in the first book it was a Beauty and the Beast retelling and she broke A Curse So Dark and Lonely, that's what it's called. Yes. Really enjoyed this series, trilogy, not entirely sure. I'm a recent convert to Brigid Kemmerer's books. Really enjoyed this one. I don't think that it quite lived up to A Curse So Dark and Lonely for me. I can't quite pinpoint what it was that I wanted more from A Heart So Fierce and Broken, but it was still a solid entry into this series. I wasn't disappointed. So the next book was Run Rebel by Manjeet Mann. I've already done an entire video about why I love Run Rebel so much, so I will link that somewhere here. Do go and watch that video. Do go and read Run Rebel. I really enjoyed it. Next up, I read The Bad Mothers Book Club by Keris Stainton. This is another book that I've already discussed in another video, so there will be a link there as well. This is an adult contemporary book about a book club. It was so much fun to read. Really enjoyed it. Next up, I read We Are Okay by Nina LaCour. At the beginning of this year, I started a new job and it was like a stone's throw away from my local library. So one of my goals for 2020, that didn't happen, was to use my local library more regularly. Can't really do that during a global pandemic when libraries are shut, whatever. But anyway, I follow my local library's Instagram page, and in the morning, I believe it was, I saw that they'd posted a table display. I can't remember for what, and on it there was a copy of We Are Okay by Nina LaCour. So on my lunch break, as soon as I could, really, I just rushed over, grabbed that, checked it out. I've been wanting to read this book for absolutely ages and I loved it. It was so very good. Not gonna lie, not a whole lot happens in the book itself, so it's set over like a weekend, and the main character has a friend from home visiting her, and it's so weird between the two of them because they have a lot of emotional history and a relationship, but they're kind of a bit like unsure about where they stand because our main character picked up and just left. No words, nothing, she just left. And so the whole story is about them being weird with each other, our main character telling the reader what it is that's been going on in her life. After that, I read I Am Not Your Negro by James Baldwin. I really wanted to read something by James Baldwin, and I think I bought this when it was on a 99p deal. I think there was like a documentary or a film made of this, and I think that would be a much better medium to see this story, or at least the concept of this. So I think it was taking some of the work that James Baldwin was trying to work with and it's sort of adapting it into like like a more fleshed out, developed story, but I just didn't feel like the ebook worked for that very well. I couldn't really, like, I think at the end of that, the notes that I wrote down was, I want to read more James Baldwin, and I want to read more about Black creators of stuff, like the autobiography of Malcolm X, or like the poetry, I guess, of Tupac Shakur. There was just elements, I think, of this story that really stood out for me, but not like the whole story itself, because I don't think it really is a story. It was just like selections of different stuff put together. Yes. After that, I read Theatrical by Maggie Harcourt. This was a really, really cute romance story set with the backdrop of the theater in the background, and the main character is like an intern as an assistant director for, I don't know, some really big theater somewhere, and she starts having feelings for one of the actors in this play or whatever, and she's kind of dealing with like her ambition, I guess, to do well within the theater industry, but also living outside of the shadow of her mother, who is like wildly successful in the area that she does in theater, which is like costumes and stuff. So she's trying to make her own mark without just sort of riding on the coattails of her mother. But it was really, really cute, loved it, really, really good. And the final book that I read in February was Normal People by Sally Rooney. I picked this up because in January I read Conversations with Friends by the same author, and oh God, I just love Normal People so much. Because I'm obviously not filming this in February, I've watched the adaptation of Normal People for television, and it was just absolutely perfect. I loved every second of it. I feel like watching it all again, even though it hasn't been that long since I watched it the first time. It was just, there's something about Sally Rooney, isn't there? Anyway, favorites from this month are definitely Run Rebel by Manjeet Mann, We Are Okay by Nina LaCour, and Normal People by Sally Rooney, because all of those are very, very good. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video or subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for my March and April wrap-ups coming soon.